Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. Joshua T. Calkins-Treworgy here, Byron of Sidious. I don't make a whole hell of a lot of YouTube videos anymore. I don't look at this as my primary means of updating or blogging. I haven't for quite some time. I have, however, gotten back into producing episodes of the Storyteller's Corner, which began as a series here on my Byron of Sidious YouTube page, but I have restarted the whole thing in a podcast format, audio format. You can find and listen to the episodes if you head on over to my author page on Facebook. Just look up Joshua T. Calkins-Treworgy, like the page, click on the links to the podcast episodes, and away you go. This is not, however, typically where folks who I've become friendly with in the small independent publishing realm talk to me or communicate with me or touch base with me. They don't typically get in touch with me here on YouTube. It's actually part of why I'm using YouTube, is to kind of air a grievance, and I don't want to get into a horrendous level of detail on specifics and name names, but there is a gentleman who is in one of the writers groups that I'm a member of on Facebook, and he had in a thread he had in the group he had posted up a promotion for one of his books. He's saying, I want to put this up there because I don't want it to disappear into the consistent posts within the group. It's not a huge group either, so it wouldn't normally get lost, except that the group members that are active are very active. They post consistently, and I tend to be one of those people. I post semi-consistently in there at least once every couple of days, particularly when I've got a new episode of the podcast coming out. Now, I private messaged this individual, or rather, I commented on his post, that post where he's saying, hey, I want to make sure that this stays relevant. And I made a comment on that post saying, hey, have you ever thought about looking into joining like a Christian independent authors group here on Facebook? Because he was talking about, the story that he was promoting is a Christian book. It's a series of these fictitious revelations, these fictitious testimonials, rather, from characters who he's created. And the book, he got it published through Tate Publishing. Now, Tate is not a reputable outfit at all. They have a terrible reputation in the publishing industry. They're listed on Predators and Editors as a subsidy publisher to be avoided. They state very clearly in red print, not recommended, subsidy publisher, scams. There's a number of lawsuits from people who have worked with Tate Publishing because the guy who runs it is not reputable, and he's disingenuous. Now, it has been argued that there are 3 different levels of working with Tate Publishing, that sometimes they pay the production costs, sometimes they'll take authors and take them under the wing and produce for them, and they'll start paying them royalties after their book earns a certain amount. There's another model, which is the author kicks in X amount of dollars, and Tate Publishing kicks in X amount of dollars, and they pay the author back once they've earned X amount of dollars that Tate put in to producing the book. And there's the other model, which is completely 100%. You pay them out the wazoo to produce your book, and they do it just like a subsidy or vanity press in the olden days. They have a terrible reputation amongst independent and small press authors for being a bunch of scam artists. They're not good people to work with. They've got a terrible reputation, not only as a business model, but apparently many of the works that they produce are considered not very good material, period. And this this gentleman within the writers group on Facebook, who I'm alluding to, he had commented back to me, "Thanks, but no thanks. I'm not an independent author." Now, I'm not usually big on calling people out on bullshit when they're colleagues of mine, unless it's horrendously obvious that they need to be called out on it. This was more of a subtle thing that just bothers me, because the guy's attitude is one of, "Well, I have worked with Tate Publishing. I'm not an independent. I'm not an indie author." Yes, you are. I understand maybe you don't want to have that label attached to you because you consider yourself a professional, but you're an independent. Not based on the fact that you have an actual publishing company through which you have worked, but because that company is not 100% professional. They're not established within the industry as a reputable publishing company. They're established as a subsidy press, which would make you, by technical definitions, an indie author. Now, that's not a bad thing. I'm an indie. Both of my publishers, Mr. Priest at Books for a Buck, Mr. Hartman at Untreated Reads, they have small publishing houses. Small to mid-sized outfits. And those are my primary publishers who I work with. I do also self-produce some material. I've self-produced more material in the last couple of years than I ever had before. Mainly because I'm impatient. That's my own shit. I gotta work on that. But the attitude of, well, I'm better than that. I don't deserve that label because I'm so much better. No, you're not. If you could just come out and admit it. Or say, well, I feel like I'm at a higher level of writing, that my writing is professional grade. That's fine. And in many cases, it could be true. You could have great professional grade writing. You could be a tremendous storyteller and still be an indie author. There is a difference. The storyteller writes the story, tells the story. The author part, that's the profession. And if on the profession end, you are working with a small, independent, mid-sized, or subsidy publisher, you are an indie. Now, I am not an authority to say that this is black and white, and who the fuck am I to try and define the terms of what makes someone an independent and what makes them mainstream, or not an independent or mainstream, but middle of the road. I'm nobody. I'm just a schmuck with a camera on his phone making a YouTube video, who also creates his podcasts on the same phone, who tells stories and gives them away for free a lot of the times. I'm just a guy who took the first 6 novels I professionally published through Mr. Priest, took them off the market, and made them free chapter-by-chapter entries on my blog. Why would I do that? I'm losing money, you might say. That's not the point. The point is not the money. The point is telling the story and hoping that people enjoy it and are entertained by it. That's all. That's the heart of it. I wish I could make a living as a writer, as a storyteller. It may never happen for me. I accept that. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop telling stories or that I'm going to stop enjoying it. But I really wish some people's attitude within my segment of the industry would take a more positive turn of introspection and realization and come to the conclusion that indie does not mean bad. Commercial, mainstream, does not necessarily mean good. I know we have rambled enough. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me once again Check out the podcasts on the author page for Joshua T. Calkins-Treworgy on Facebook. Thanks again, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves. And as always, keep reading.